Oh, Binda is here.
All right, guys, it's a very beautiful evening here in Ghana, and it's the same beautiful evening in Botswana as well. Today is an all Botswana affair. I'm here with Botswana people. I mean, people who are in boxing in Botswana. It's a blessing. I have the vice president of the professional boxing. I also have a boxing coach also on the line. I also have Magma. Magma is also on the line with us as well. Guys, it's going to be a very exciting show. As always, you can comment with your questions and we'll ask them. It's your first. If today's your first time, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube and then you follow us on Facebook and on Twitter as well. This show is airing live on Kboxtv on Facebook, Kboxtv YouTube, and Kboxtv Twitter. This is the platform where every African boxing or anybody connected to boxing in Africa has a voice, and the voice is heard on here. Guys, welcome to Kboxtv.
Good evening.
All right.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, we're fine. To my extreme, to just below me, it's Seroba Binda. Seroba is the vice president of the professional boxing in Botswana, and to his, I mean, diagonally down, I have Bond Boxing. He is a trainer and also a boxing manager, and I also have Magma to my extreme left. All right.
Left.
Left. All right, guys. Okay, yeah. So I'll take it from the vice president first. He just joined us. Vice President, welcome to Kboxtv.
You're welcome, my brother. How are you? Well, my name is Binda. I'm the vice president for Professional Boxing Association in Botswana.
All right, great.
Yes.
Bond, you muted your mic so we can hear you, Bond. Right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Bond, welcome to Kboxtv.
Hey, yo, bro. Good evening to everyone watching this.
All right.
Well, we hope we have a great show, and yeah.
All right, great. Magma, welcome to Kboxtv too.
Thank you, and good evening to your viewers in all over Africa.
All right, great. Thank you for making time and coming on the show. Now, let me take it straight from the vice president. I mean, a lot of us in Africa have been watching football grow in Africa. But if we look at boxing, it is one sport that has put Africa on the map many, many times in terms of laurels. But we don't get the opportunity, especially in terms of coverage and all that boxing deserves. I mean, for you as a vice president operating from Botswana, how have you been able to, I mean, thrive and make boxing happen in Botswana?
I would say I agree with you, and when it comes to boxing, that many people still give priority to football or any other sports. And when you look at the impact of boxing and overseas and how people are making a living out of that sport, you can see that if we could be equally given a chance, we could actually take boxing to great heights, especially when you look into our country. When you look at the sports of football, it's not really doing well. But when you look at the gold and the silvers that have been brought by boxing, you will smile all the way home. So
that's true.
Boxing should actually be given a priority. Yeah.
All right, great. I mean, Bond, you are somebody who are always with the boys as a trainer. You are always with them as a promoter as well. How has your job been for you as a boxer? Sorry, as a manager and as a promoter.
First of all, let me say, professional boxing is new in Botswana. It's relatively new. We are at a beginner stage, so we're still facing a number of challenges. Of course, we've had some successes here and there, And before COVID, we're preparing for a fight that was supposed to happen beginning of April. And the boys were doing well in the gym. And we're going to have our first national titles in the history of Botswana. And with COVID here, we postponed or say we canceled our event. We're not sure if it's going to happen this year because we have new cases every now and then. As we speak now, we are there's another lockdown and we are just home. So there isn't much that we can do, but we hope after the lockdown or post COVID, we'll be able to go back to normal.
Mogorosi Musinyi. I hope I got the name right. All right. So, I mean, my brother, I mean, for you as somebody who's also connected to boxing, what would you want to see in Botswana boxing? You sound a little bit far from the mic. Can you come closer to the mic for us, please? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. I didn't hear much, but I heard you say something about a government investment in the sport, which will take the sport to a different level, which I also agree with you. Now, guys, what you don't know about the vice president, Mr. Binda, is that he himself was a professional boxer himself. And so I would like to take him back to when he was Mr. Knockout in his knockout days. And then I mean, bring back some feeling, and then, and then we'll take it from there. I mean, Mr. Binda, how was boxing for you in your days?
I would say I had I enjoyed my days in the boxing because I brought a lot of glory back in the country.
Right.
And when I wanted to take it to greater heights, I think by then things were still very slow. There were no people who had the passion to focus in the professional boxing until I ended up having to quit. And now being in the admin, wanting to push the passion now for younger stars, so that we could see ourselves and Africa producing stars, producing world champions. That's where I want to see boxing in Africa going, because we have boxers in Africa, Mr. Kofi. We have beautiful boxers. We have boxers with talent. It's just a matter of like Mr. Magma, what he wanted to say, Mr. Mokorosi, when he was saying, we need a bit of a push from the government, like they do in other sports. If they could put a little bit of a push, then we would hang there. We'll hang there. We'll bring gold and silver to the country. We'll take the country into the map. That's our focus.
Right. I mean, I so want to see Africa rock shoulders in the world, because when we see the guys that are even world champions in the world, we see them as blacks, right? So we don't need any kind of, evidence that when we train the boys right and the boys get equal opportunity, they will be also world champions and rock shoulders with the guys in the world. Wouldn't you agree with me on what I'm saying, Bond?
Yeah, no, I agree absolutely. Like what Binda was saying, of course we've had challenges, but we have grown also as a country. During Binda's days as a boxer, they relied more on South African promoters.
Right.
We had to go out of the country. Local boxers were promoted by South Africans. So now, at least, we promote most of the fights here that are promoted by locals, and we believe as Botswana, we can develop our own champions. And of course, we can't work in isolation. We have to work with the rest of the world. We have to work with big guys like Kofi, like what we're doing now. We're trying to take boxing to greater heights, and people should know about us. What is common here is amateur boxing or Olympic boxing. So professional boxing is the one that is new, and a lot of guys like Binda and a few other guys who turned pro, they didn't last because of the frustrating situations. So now we're trying to have it here. We have our own board which sanctions our own events, which was not there 10 years ago. So we have made tremendous progress in that regard.
Right. That's great. And I understand you have some few guys that you personally train, because I see you with them a lot on your Instagram and then on your Facebook as well. Would you want to mention some of the talents that Africa should watch out if they get all the backers and support like the rest of the world has?
Yes, we have local boys. We have one boy called Thabiso the Showstopper Mpolokeng. He was supposed to be in this show, but unfortunately we were not able to get hold of him. So we also have other boys from other clubs, like there's a club called Dread Boxing. They have two boys who are really good, and there's talent here. Looking at their records from amateur boxing, so they're able to get medals from international competitions. They only need another platform where they can take off their vests and face the best in the world.
Right. I mean, Ngoro or Magma, for somebody that has like a degree in network engineering, somebody would say that, come on, I would have to go and do my own thing. But you find yourself in the sport. What brings you to it? Just tell us.
When you look at the way Born Boxing Gym is organized, it has professional boxers, and then it has corporate boxers. I'm with Born Boxing as a corporate boxer. I have the love for the sport, but I don't do contact. So since I have love for the sport, I just thought, you know what, the best I can do is give back to our younger brothers who love sport, but who do not have the means to go all the way. So that's the kind of support I can give.
True. I mean, Bond mentioned something that we all can't ignore, that Botswana has a lot of, let's say, amateur, some of the good old days amateur boxers. And just what happened in Dakar, we have one of the first female boxers which qualified from Botswana. Mr. President, I know it is not about amateur boxing, but let me also credit you for the success, because you are part of, I mean, the team, right? Or like the boxing team in Botswana. I mean, how did that make you feel?
I would say, Kofi, like you are saying, it's not just about you know, as alone as Botswana, but as Africa, that where do you want to see Africa going? Where do you want to put Africa in the map of boxing? Can we do without the outside world? With COVID now being there, we are supposed to, you know, having something, a platform where we say we can do it on our own. And how do we do it?
Oh, I think we lost Binta for a minute.
We had the best cream.
Okay, he's back.
Yes. We had the best cream, and you know, it was a cream of all the time. And all those boxers, when you see them, you know, have you ever seen yourself watching boxing and you feel you could just take the gloves and get back into the ring and start doing it?
Right.
that's what we want to see. That's what we want to, that's the plan that we have. We still want to see that happening. That's why we didn't hang the gloves and moved away from the sports, but said no, there was a few things that needed to be done so that we see our boys, taking Africa on the map.
Right, great. Bond, it's unfortunate that, I mean, as things are with the COVID-19 here, in many countries you see most of the restrictions being eased, but in Botswana, I understand you guys are back on another lockdown. I mean, how is this affecting the sport? Especially for the boys, the boxers, because you are with them, you work with them a lot. For instance, we were supposed to have Thabiso on the show, but we were not able to get to him. I'm sure when a boy like that, when he comes to you to talk to you, you get a lot of information, and then as a promoter and as a manager, there are some things that run through your head and all that. I mean, I want you to pour all these things out and then see how other promoters watching on the show can also come together and make things happen for the whole of Africa.
Yeah, first of all, there's obviously loss of income. Boxers make money through fighting, and that has really affected them. Maybe this year they're going to have 2-3 shows, and they've lost money. And besides that, they're trying to build their records before they get old. At the end, we want to have a title shot, whether it's Africa, world title shot. So we need that. But there's also one thing that was good. Our government came in handy. We had a wage subsidy. So they were given something. Just last week, some have already received their grants. Yeah, so around $700. So given to each professional boxer, given to promoters, given to administrators in the sport. Not only boxing, but across the sports code. So that has really helped us. That has cushioned the boxers. So it can be a problem if this COVID-19 is prolonged. We have lockdown after lockdown, then we are going to be in big trouble. Like we run a gym, a commercial boxing gym, and some of the boys work in the gym. And with the gym closed, our income is closed. We're not able to generate revenue as we used to. So we need to sit down and negotiate how we're going to pay the boys, how we're going to pay rent. So these are the things that have really affected the economy in general. And us in sports, we're trying to grow. And when we have something like COVID-19 that is beyond our control, we just look up to God and hope this thing comes to an end as soon as possible.
Right. Mr. Binda, let me come to you real quick with this question. I'm sure as a professional association, you guys are putting some structures in place to make sure that at least Botswana can boast of a world champion soon. I would like for you to, mention some of these things that the association is putting in place to make sure that this happens.
Coffee.
Sometimes, yeah. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, you can come again.
All right. So I was saying that I'm sure that there are measures that the professional association of Botswana is putting together to make sure that they can also boast of a world champion from Botswana very, very soon. Already, you have Ekowe Suman, who is of Botswana descent, fighting in the UK under the UK flag, who is fighting. But of course, because he's in the UK, I'm sure you don't get to have the feel of him that much. But what are some of the measures that the association is putting in place to make sure that what you couldn't achieve, the boys will be able to achieve and make the whole of Botswana happy?
Kofi, we are still observing the impact of COVID, hand in hand with our medical team, our doctors, together in line with the COVID team. We because it's only of recent that the COVID took a drastic change in our country, and with that and boxing being a contact sport, it's really posing a challenge.
I think we lost Binda again. Let's see what is going to get. We're going to get. We'll be able to have him back, but like we'll try and get to see whether we can have him. But I mean, Bond, let's have this conversation. I mean, let's talk about some of your guys. All right. There was a show that I was so much interested in last year. I even wanted to come there to come watch that show. I mean, how did the boys feel when the show got cancelled? Because that show was one of the shows that the guys really had their eyes on. The show got cancelled. There was, I think, around that time there was a newly launched championship title that the guys were also eyeing to take, right? And all those things. I mean, how did they affect the boys, and how in campaigning for you as a promoter and a trainer?
As a boxer, is the last thing you want to hear that a fight has been cancelled. Right. Because first of all, you invest a lot of time, a lot of resources. You go to the gym every day, you wake up early in the morning, some as early as 4 to do the road work. And then you're told maybe 2 weeks, 4 weeks before the fight that the fight is no longer taking place. So it depends. Boxers are different. Some in terms of mental strength, some are strong, some are weak. So it depends. Some just say, okay, these things happen and wait for the next one. But some completely crash and maybe they stop coming to the gym. You have to go back to their homes and beg them to come back to the gym. So these are things that we see happen, and it's not nice at all. At the end, a lot of money is invested, and it really hurt them big time. And with this second show that was supposed to happen, and then things didn't work out because of COVID. Of course, maybe this one is more understandable because it's happening the world over. But with the show that was supposed to happen last year, boxers were really angry. Not only the boxers, the trainers. At the end of the day, when you prepare for a fight, you spend a lot of money and so on.
I saw you shake your head many times, Mr. Binda. I mean, would you want to add to what he said?
Yeah, definitely. What Bond is saying, when you're at an advanced stage, to give results, and suddenly, boom, something comes out. It was really a fallback and a negative impact onto the boxing. In general, the boxing family was they couldn't settle well after. He said we had a failed tournament last year due to some unforeseen circumstances. And now with COVID, we don't know when we're going to be back in the game, when we're going to see the guys, giving all they can, all their hearts out. And, we have kids out there who want to live out of boxing with low employment challenges countrywide and all over the world. We're trying to make people see that they can make a living out of boxing. They can put food over the table for their families. We can take kids out from the streets and give them the boxing gloves, and they have something to play around with. So it really affected boxing at large. That's why earlier when I was telling you that we are still trying to observe how this thing's gonna unfold, how it's gonna be manageable, and how maybe suddenly we're going to be able to take off from the ground and start taking our sports to the people.
Right. I mean, you guys said something from the beginning. As if I say you guys, I mean, Bond said something like most of your time had to go compete in South Africa. And for us in Ghana, we see a lot of boxing happening in South Africa. Especially they have the DSTV and everything to back them to stream the shows and all that. All right. I mean, have you considered trying to work with them to make sure that they have some shows also in Botswana as well?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I should have.
we have a close relationship with Boxing South Africa, and they're really trying to help us to have Botswana boxing, professional boxing, get on its feet. And like I said, when we started having professional boxing more than a decade ago, we relied more on South African promoters. But what we learned along the way was we also need to have our own, because priority will also be given. They'll give priority to their citizens. So it's better we also have our own, where we have national championships and so on. And you know, professional boxing is business. So when maybe a boxer is not doing well, they'll just dump you there. So not all promoters, of course. So we need to develop our own. When we go to other people, we also have something to back up, to back us up, than to completely rely on promoters from outside. But I'm not saying they haven't helped us. They've helped us. We've had Fox Sport coming here 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I watched that show. It was a very organized, well-organized show. Yeah.
Yes. So you look, they came, we were happy, we embraced them, but we didn't know when they were going to leave. And when they left, they just left. And the boys again were left frustrated. There was nothing. So that is why I'm saying we should have our own people. We know they're here to stay. They're not going to leave after some years or months. So that's what we've seen with promoters coming from outside. They can come, get you excited. While you're excited, then they just go.
They leave. Right. That's one thing that's also killing the sport, not just in Botswana, but some other part of Africa as well. And hearing the plight of a promoter in Botswana, Mr. Binda, what would you want the media in Botswana to do to help sustain boxing in Botswana?
Like I said earlier on, Kofi, we need to
I think we'll have to wait a while. Who's going to join us? For me, I've always said that boxing is media, like we see in the world is media. We see media workouts. We see them having the rights to their shows and everything, right? It just goes beyond they're coming to the venue to pay. Like we see what's happening in UK and even Nicaragua and all that, right? We've seen boxing, the the COVID-19 still in like around with us. But we see promotions are still everything going on because of the power of the media to broadcast. People can still sit in their house and just take their phones and just watch the show. They can switch on the TV and they'll still be able to watch the show. It's great that you are back, Binda. I would like to hear what you'd have to say about that.
Yes, and what you just said recently. We need media we need a coverage. We need media to take us to the people, because with COVID being here, we're gonna have limited audience. We're gonna have sponsors pulling back because they wouldn't be seeing themselves being advertised and stuff. But with media taking us to the people, it's gonna change the dynamics of sports, whereby people could just have a variety of sports to watch. They will be in the evening, every evening there's a tournament. 2 weeks to come there's a tournament, there's a boxing tournament. People will be especially growing that passion for boxing and eventually falling in love with boxing. And with that, it will be marketable, it will be taken to the sponsors, it will be taken to the world. And that's what you're saying. We're calling on sponsors, we're calling on media to come on board so that they could also give back to the society in that light of boxing sports.
Great. Talking about branding, Bond, you're one of the guys that I always check your Facebook and your Instagram. I mean, it's very solid. You're always on point.
Thank you.
What has branding done to your business?
I'm talking to you because of branding. That's why I'm talking
to you. Right.
Yeah. Right. So as sports people also, or as sports teams, we have to market our products, because boxing is a product. So sometimes we're not working hard enough to promote what we are selling. So for people to come to the arenas to watch your boxers, we need to promote the sport of boxing as a product. We need to promote the boxers, the individual boxers. We have big names like Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. They are products that are more like bigger than the sport itself. So we need to have our own Manny Pacquiao's here, our own Mayweathers, our own Mike Tyson's here. It is only through branding, it is only through marketing, have our pages going on, have all those things. It has to be real, man.
Hello?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm saying I'm saying he's raising a very good point. When it comes to athletes, you know, themselves, they should make themselves brands. And when they become brands, they are easily sellable. They, you know, everyone would want to associate with them. And with that, you know, we'll be taking boxing to another level. You know, we'll be having our own African championship, African champs that will be, you know, sellable across the world. And, you know, suddenly we'll change the dynamics. I want to believe if we could unite as Africa, if we could, you know, have you know, the passion of taking boxing to another level and, you know, branding it in a way that it's just like football, whereby when the season comes or when there's a tournament for boxing, you know, everyone starts talking about it. It's about us now trying to implement that in our boxers to see that they can be brands on their own, which can be sellable, which can make a living out of themselves.
That's very, very true. Guys, my guest has been born Squealer Ngubula. I hope I got the name right.
That's fine.
Right. I also have Seroba Binda also on the show. I was supposed to have Thabiso Mpolokeng on the show to talk about how he feels as a boxer going through all these things as well. But unfortunately, we were not able to get him on the show. But trust me that with Bon here and Binda here, it will be very easy for us to get to him when boxing returns. Before you go, I would like to get your message for the millions around the world who will be watching the show now or after. I'll start from you, Bud.
Yeah, thank you, Basi, for this opportunity. Botswana, as a country, we're trying to get our sport out there, our boxers out there. The world should watch out. We're grooming stars. We're going to have stars in the near future. We have our own challenges, but we're going to overcome them. So we're working around the clock to make sure we're right on top.
All right, great. I mean, Binda. All right, before Bob, don't go yet. Binda, I'd like to also get your last message before we go.
Kofi, let me say to our followers, to the boxing family, to the boxers themselves, they should stay safe. Corona is there, it's real. They should live like champions, train in the corners. You know, champions are born. They should keep up that plight and, you know, have a positive mind and not give up. You know, in a boxing ring, you don't give up until you are down on the canvas. If you are still surviving, stand up on your toes. You know, a knockout can happen for you. So I say they should keep up the
Guys, you just heard that from Mr. Knockout, right? He said, "Don't stay on your toes, don't go down." Guys, there are a lot of things I want to touch on.
Yeah,
because
they call me Mr. Knockout.
Yeah, right. There are a lot of things I wanted to touch on, but because of the COVID here, most of the responses will be hitting us because of COVID. But I know you guys are doing an amazing job. I follow what you guys do on social media. I watch a lot. And so I know you guys are doing an amazing job. I just hope that things can resume very soon. And so when things do resume, I know, Bon, you have a show that's coming up, especially that was coming up even before the COVID-19. I would like to come back to you and get to the boxers as on the show to talk to. Binda, I'm sure you would also help them to facilitate them, the promoters who be doing this show. I'm sure you'll be able to, you'll also be there to make their job very easy for things to resume. But before we go, all right, there's one thing that everybody that comes on the show does for me, is to give the boys the measures to stay safe in the season?
Okay, you want me to say something?
Yeah, right.
I can encourage all the boys to comply, to stay safe, stay home, right. Take the right things like vitamin B, vitamin C, the right foods, take citrus fruits, stuff like that. So the only thing is to take care of yourself, keep fit while you're home. You can do something, don't just give up.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Binda, now you end the show for us in terms of what the government's restrictions and everything, the warnings that they've given, how the boys should also comply with.
Let me thank you, Kofi, for the opportunity giving us, and let's hope we're gonna continue and understand here to always take boxing to the people. Let me also extend my gratitude to our authorities back in your country, back in our country, and hope they will continue to support us in a milestone. Let me also thank, like I said, our followers here, our boxers, you know, the boxing family at large, and say to them they should stay safe. They should go to, they should train where they are. They can still do something. We can share with them some training modules. They should follow the rules and regulations put before them by their governments. Wash their hands, sanitize, wear their masks. Like I said before, COVID is here. It's real. And if they don't take precaution, you know, it will be really, really bad. Finally, let me say thank you to yourself for hosting us.
Thank you very much. Guys, it's been all Botswana today. And thank you guys for making time. Until God willing, Saturday and on Friday, have a very good evening and stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.